this on. Oops. Okay, hope you guys are doing well today. We're gonna start off kind of easy. Hopefully you haven't had too crazy of a weekend. We were a little bit busy this weekend, so I'm a little sore and a little stiff. Let's get in a cross-legged position, or whatever position you'd like. Let's close our eyes for a sec. And we're just taking a moment, almost like you're taking some cleansing breaths. So if things have been built up, if you've had a stressful weekend, or if you're looking forward toward a stressful week, I almost said special week, stressful week, try to leave those things off to the side. Give yourself this time to breathe. And let's start to take that breath a little deeper. So if you have to, you can place your hand on your belly and feel like you're expanding out against your hand when you breathe in. Or when you yawn in. Start to roll those shoulders back a little bit, maybe open up more through the chest. If you have to, you can feel like you're lifting your chin slightly. So I'm going to place that hand down. Let's take the legs and just put them in front of us so you can keep your knees bent. And we're going to wrap the arms around and just fold over. Continuing to breathe deeply, so maybe using your legs as a guide now for each inhale, even though we're folded over. Still trying to use that diaphragm on those breaths. Okay, let's inhale. Bring the body up straight. You can place one hand down to the side, one hand up and over. Easy fold. My arms look super white right now. Let's inhale, place that arm down, other hand up and over. We're going to inhale, wrap those arms around again, easy fold. And then let's inhale, let's place the hands behind us. We're just going to open up toward the ceiling for a moment. So we're leaning back so that we're making kind of a straight line with our spine, so not rounding. Lift through the chest, lift through the belly button. That way you have a nice flat back. I'm sitting on my squishy pad again. Okay, so keeping your back nice and tall. We're going to drop the knees off to one side. Then let's inhale, bring it through the center. Exhale, drop the knees off to the other side. Again, we're going to inhale, dropping those knees over as we exhale. Hang out from under me. One more time, inhale, we're going to drop those knees over. Awesome, so this time we're going to take those knees over again, but let's keep one hand behind, other hand on top, twist away from those knees. So you should feel like it's easy to turn and look straight behind you in this position. Only thing about that greens powder in the Gatorade is it gives me the burps. We're gonna inhale, come across the center, drop your knees on the other side, and same thing, we're placing our hands on top, twisting away. Big stretch through the side of the body. And again, we're gonna twist to the front. We're gonna drop the knees over one more time, but this time we're gonna come up slightly and just try to stretch over away from our feet. So if you have to, you can kind of grab hold with that arm. We're kind of turning and twisting over the other way. And then we're gonna take the hands back, drop the knees off to the other side, and same thing, we're kind of turning and twisting to the other side. Yeah, okay. All right, let's bring those knees up. Let's go ahead onto hands and knees. All right, so hands underneath your shoulders, knees under your hips, flat back for a second here. Oops, move my hair. All right, so flat back for a second here. Actually, if you want to walk your hands a little further out so you can have some room, you can. We're going to curl the toes under and just easy passes, sawing the spine forward and back. Remember, you're just going through the range of motion that you can handle, so this is more of a warm-up for all of the extreme joints, so your wrists, shoulders, hips, knees, ankles, toes, all that stuff. And you're just going to move as far forward as you're comfortable with, and then you just sit back as far as you'd like. If you're feeling any pinching or pain, maybe just avoid that range of motion. So if you have to concentrate on the moving forward part and not come back as far, that's okay. Or vice versa. One more pass. Awesome. Okay, so we're going to move it back and place those. Oh, sorry, don't place your feet flat. Keep your toes tucked under. Bring your hands underneath your shoulders. We're going to pull those shoulders down from your ears. Same thing as I mentioned last Wednesday. Don't allow your back to arch as much. Instead, feel like you're slightly tucking your tailbone. So slightly pulling your tailbone back behind you so that your back ends up nice and flat. Lower abs get super tight. We're going to feel like we're corkscrewing our shoulders, our arms into our shoulders so that we're tight right here on the sides. Big breath in. As you exhale, try to hover those knees. So about 2 inches off of the ground. You should feel nice and strong through your lower abs and into the front of the legs. One more breath in. We're going to exhale, slowly lower those legs down. Now you can flatten out both feet. From here, we're going to go into cat and cow. So inhale, arch through your spine. Lift your forehead, bend your tailbone. Maybe take a couple of breaths. And then big breath in, you're gonna exhale to round the spine, pushing up and away from the floor, picking off random hairs. Super great when you walk around with a hair hanging off your butt all the time, isn't that nice? Inhale, arch the spine. Ladies know what I mean. And then exhale, round through the back, tuck your forehead and your tailbone. Awesome, we're gonna return to neutral. Let's pull those shoulders down, tuck that tailbone just a tiny bit. We're gonna go into the bottom half of bird dog. So big breath in, exhale, we're gonna send the leg back nice and strong. Try to feel like you're straightening out that leg as much as you can. So not arching your spine. That leg should stay nice and straight off the back of your hips. Let's inhale, place that leg down. We're gonna repeat on the other side, big breath in. Exhale and send that leg back, nice and straight. Like you're straightening your leg as much as you can without any pinching in the knees. And we're gonna inhale, go ahead and place that leg down. Now, if you can, keep your legs nice and straight. We're gonna walk the hands forward and just stretch back for a sec. So this is more like downward puppy kind of thing, almost like extended child's pose without the knees as wide. If you can't sit all the way down, just kind of hang out with your hips up high. Stretching out through the shoulders. Let's give it 2 more breaths. Okay, we're gonna inhale, let's bring it on up. We're gonna bring the hands in slightly. Let's bring the knees out just a little bit, and you can bring your big toes together so you don't tip. We're gonna take one hand, stretch it up toward the ceiling, big stretch. Breathe in, we're gonna exhale, reach under, but we're not gonna hold this time, just turn, reach, and stretch as far as you can. Maybe take a breath while you're there, and then we're gonna inhale and come up again. So big twist again, reaching that hand up, twisting that chest to the side. Breathing in, as you exhale, we're twisting through, reaching underneath. Maybe taking a breath. One more time, we're gonna inhale up and through, stretching that hand up. Breathing in, we're gonna exhale and reach under. One last time, one more breath. Okay, let's bring that hand up, place it down on the mat. We're gonna repeat on the other sides. Remember, we're just kind of repping through this. So inhale, bring that hand up toward the ceiling, big wave. Big breath in, we're gonna exhale, thread the needle through. Try to turn your chest to the side, ultimate pretzel shape. Breathing in, we're gonna exhale, lift that hand up. Reaching up toward the ceiling. Breathe in, exhale, let's thread it through, turning that chest sideways, pulling that shoulder blade away for just a split second. And then one more time, we're gonna inhale, hand goes up. And then last time, threading it through. Awesome, let's go ahead and bring that hand up. We're gonna walk the body forward. You can lay down on the mat and bring your legs in just a little bit. Let's have those hands down, forearms down in our little Sphinx pose, our slight back bend, and we're gonna lift through the chin. Maybe feel like you're pulling back slightly. Shoulders are down and pulling down on the back. One more big breath in. We're gonna exhale, go ahead and settle your chest down to the mat. You can stack your hands and rest your forehead on the back of your hands. So once again, maybe you're using the floor as a guide. So keeping our breathing nice and deep, nice and steady, and you're pressing your belly against the floor as you inhale, so using it as resistance. Let's give this 2 more deep breaths. Awesome, so we're gonna place our hands underneath us and we're gonna meet in a high plank. So you can do this on your toes or on your knees and however you need to get there. We're gonna come up off of the floor, body nice and flat. So we're gonna end here with our hands underneath your shoulders, feet straight behind us, body's flat. So it's not down dog, hips aren't up. Make sure that your hips are in line with your shoulders. So straight line from your shoulders, past your hips, all the way to your heels. One big breath in. Now as you exhale, we're gonna start to move the hips back, and now we'll move into downward dog. So butt's gonna go up in the air a little bit. You might have to adjust your feet. 2 deep breaths. Okay, and we're gonna walk the feet forward, walk the hands back. Let's come on up to standing. Oh yeah. Made it here. All right, so we're gonna get into a few more little shoulder stretches here. So let's put the feet out about a shoulder width wide. We're gonna spread out the toes on the mat for a sec, and we're gonna focus on the upper body. So let's take both hands, stretch them out in front of you, bend at the elbows. Place one elbow on top of the other, and if you wanna stay here and just utilize this stretch, you can. If you have bendy arms and you can wrap around and place your palms together, then you can take that step, that's up to you, but at least kind of crossing over each other as much as you can. Okay, we're gonna slightly lift the elbows. So rather than hanging out on the chest, try to lift those elbows up to where they're about shoulder height without pulling too much on the shoulders. And if you feel comfortable, you can actually take those hands and angle them away from your head slightly. So we've taken our elbows up, and then we're moving our hands away from our forehead. Couple of breaths. And take note of which arm is on top. Big breath in. Exhale, relax those arms. For me, relax means swing them around, so don't judge me. All right, we're gonna repeat with the other arm. So we're gonna bend at the elbows, place the opposite arm on top or as close to on top as you can. You can either stay here with backs of the hands toward each other, or you can wrap around where the palms face each other. Remember, it's not really as important that your hands touch, so back of the hands or even just back of the elbows is fine. Okay, so we're gonna take those elbows up to the level of the shoulders. And then we're moving those hands forward away from the head without over pulling behind the shoulders. So make sure you're listening to what your body's saying. If this is already like super stretchy and your shoulders are like, heck no, don't go, then don't go any further. Only stop at the part of the stretch that's best for you. I can't really move that far away on this side because it pulls on my shoulder. One more big breath in, and you can exhale, relax the arms. I'm gonna keep those feet shoulder width wide, big breath in. Let's exhale and reach the hands down toward the toes. Trying to relax through the spine. Okay, we're gonna inhale, let's bring it back up. So now we're gonna put the feet out wide. So at least 2 shoulder widths. Remember, shoulder width is like this, so 2 of those is like way out here. Okay, so a little bit wider now. And we're gonna start off with flat back. So feel like you're lifting through your chest a little bit, sticking out your chest. We're gonna bend the knees just a tiny bit, and we're gonna press the hips back. So you end up with your chest a little bit higher. Chest is gonna be a little bit higher rather than rounded in the back. And you should feel a pretty good stretch behind the hamstrings. So only a slight bend in the knees. So keeping that flat back, just re-angle yourself toward one leg, keeping that chest lifted. Moving through the center to the other side, same thing, chest stays lifted, so you shouldn't feel like you're really reaching very far down the leg at all. My hands are still up here on the top of my thighs. Now we're gonna come back to the center, big breath in, exhale, and now you can relax toward the floor. When you're ready, just take those hands, walk them over toward one foot or ankle or pant leg or whatever it is you're grabbing. Walk it through the center. Let's go to the other leg, same thing, reaching down. And then coming back to the center. Should feel like it's pretty easy to reach those hands down now. So we're going to inhale, soften those knees, bring the body up. Let's place the hands behind the hips and press the hips forward. So not trying to like overarch your spine necessarily, but try to actually translate your hips forward. So a little bit of a stretch here on the front of the hips. All right, so all we're gonna do, since we have our feet wide, you can come back to the center here. We're going to kind of turn one foot out just a little bit, maybe like at an angle, not really straight off to the side, maybe like 45 degrees toward the front of your mat. And we're gonna turn our hips that way. Try to tuck your hips under a little bit, so tuck those hips, and then we're gonna move our weight forward into this shape. Just getting deeper into those hip flexors. Now, if you wanna do kind of like we did last week and add the extra kind of mid-torso stretch, you can reach that same side hand up and over. But remember, the hip tuck right now is the most important part. So keep those hips tucked under, keep the weight forward. Inhale, let's bring that arm down. You can turn this front foot back kind of toward the front, and then we're gonna turn the other foot out. Once again, not straight to the side like we normally do, but instead we're gonna go kind of at 45 degrees. So we're turning the hips to 45 degrees. We're tucking those hips under a little bit, and then we're shifting our weight forward over that front leg. So trying to keep enough tension to have a big stretch here on the front of that back hip. And the way you do that is by keeping your hips under and your back relatively straight. Now, same thing, if you wanna add an extra step, you can reach that hand up and over. You don't have to. You can just focus on the hip if you'd like. It's actually making my leg go numb, so can't do too much of that. Sometimes if you overstretch, you actually end up stretching your nerves a bit and you'll feel like tingling or numbness. That just means you need to back off a little bit. So that's another thing, listening to your body. Okay, so we're gonna place that hand down. Let's go ahead and bring those feet up. Let's lay down on the mat for our last couple of things here before we end out today. If you'd like, you can go ahead and lay down on your back. Day's flown by. We're gonna bring the knees up toward the chest. Let's place one leg down on the ground. We're gonna grab behind one leg, stretch it up toward the ceiling. Now, if you can, we're gonna take the bended leg and we're actually gonna straighten it out on the floor. And then this leg we have up toward the ceiling, you're gonna take it over to the opposite side of your body onto the ground. So we're gonna cross that over and try to keep our chest as pointed toward the ceiling as we can. Couple breaths. We're gonna inhale, bring that leg back to the center so you can place that foot down on the mat. Other knee is gonna come up to your chest. And then we're straightening out through that leg. My leg always shakes when I do this. The same thing, we're taking that bent leg, we're gonna straighten it out on the mat, down underneath us. And if you can, you're gonna cross that leg over to the opposite side of the body, trying to keep your chest as turned to the ceiling as you can. Last big breath in. We're gonna pull that leg back toward the center. You can go ahead and place your legs out underneath you for our last couple of minutes. We're just gonna be resting here. If you don't feel comfortable laying on your back, you can always flip over onto your belly. Just close your eyes and just take a few easy breaths. Let's stay here for one more minute, or at least I will be. Alrighty, folks. Well, thank you guys for joining in with us. I know that the state is currently in its first phase of reopening, and we are obviously not included in that. Our intention is to, whenever we're able to, I'm sure that we're going to only be able to open up at limited capacity. So we will still be open for classes, but I know that there will be people who are not comfortable with coming in. So more than likely, we're going to continue to live stream yoga for at least a few more months. But hopefully sometime within the next month, maybe we'll be able to start having people in the building. So just kind of an overview for you guys who are anticipating us being open, because believe me, we're ready to. Anyway, you guys have a great rest of your week, and I'll see you next time.